Okay. Hey guys, welcome. We're just gonna wait a minute while everybody jumps into the Zoom call. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Jessie, and I'm here with PlaidFX to answer any questions. Of course, we're gonna be watching the amazing Evil Ted finish up his sword prop that he's been working on. This is our third week. This is the final installment of the series, so we're excited to see the finishing details. I will be here, like I said, to answer any questions. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat and I will relay them to Ted. If you missed the first couple installments of this series, you can go on michaels.com and those are posted with the rest of the classes there. So you can sort of catch up before you watch this one, or you can watch this one later too. Those will be posted after the live is finished. So all those are there for you to watch. And like I said, make sure you put any comments or questions. I'm happy to relay them to Ted. And without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Ted.
Hello, everybody. Hey, guys, welcome back. You guys can see I'm representing today, a little Mod Podge action. We've been making this sword, and I noticed earlier in the comments, people have been asking, how did we make this sword? And I mentioned we made this sword strictly just for paint, and a lot of people, and I apologize if I had more thought about that, I probably would have did a video on how to make this. But if you guys go to my website, eviltedsmith.com, or the YouTube channel, the Evil Ted channel, I had the videos there. There's many videos on how to make weapons and stuff, and it's basically the same technique. I just sandwiched 2 pieces of, I believe that's 6mm foam with a fiberglass rod in there, but I left it a little safe on the end so it's soft. But what we're gonna do is finish up painting this today. We did the base coat with airbrushing. We have our gold on, and we did the copper for the heads. But today we're going to go ahead and paint this edge, but we're going to airbrush this edge. We're going to do some masking, and then we're going to paint these guys. I think it'd be interesting to have them a different color. So if you guys are ready, let's get started. Now I'm going to take this camera and swip it over to the overhead. So get ready for the motion sickness. I apologize. Here we go. Oops, sorry. Gonna move some stuff.
All good.
Hold on, it's moving. We're getting there. All right. Let me do some adjusting. There we go. Move my microphone so people can hear me. Do some final tweakage. All right. Okay. Make sure that this blade there. Okay. What we're using today, this is frog tape. This is found in most hardware stores. There's a Japanese brand paint called Tamaya that you can get. I've used it mostly for years. It turns out that frog tape is basically the same thing, but you can get it cheaper and bigger in bulk. So I love this stuff. So today we're going to start with just masking this off. And I'm going to take this pair of scissors because I want to get a sharp edge on this. Like so. I'm going to pull my first piece here, about right there. Now, even though it's frog tape and it's low tack, I always have a tendency to dab this onto my pants to get the lint off of it so it doesn't stick as well. There we go. Now, I'm going to lay this down. And you can see when you look at the blade, there's a slight reflection to it. And that's the edge we want to make sure we get because that's where we want the shiniest. We're going to paint this with a brighter silver. The blade's a dark metallic, but we want to do like a real knife. If you ever, like a knife that's been honed, it's raw metal and it's been honed sharp. So it's always brighter and sharper looking. So we want to create the same effect on our rubber prop here, our foam prop. All right, hold on, bring this up just a little bit. Make sure it's square right on that line, just where I want it. Right there, excellent. So everybody, really quickly, while I'm working, I am definitely can take questions. If you guys have any questions about paint, plaid, techniques,
Yes.
please ask away because this is what we're here for. Because most people watch my videos, but the difference between my videos and what's happening here is live. You can ask me a question right now.
This is a unique opportunity to ask Ted questions for sure.
Because I can I'm a chatterbox and I can talk while I work. So let's get this lined up, right, like that. It's a great skill, but when I was working, my boss did not like it. All right, so.
Hey, as long as you can get the work done.
Yep. But he used to say, Ted, stop talking. And I go, I'm still working. He goes, yeah, but everybody else stops working to listen to you. So,
That's true. That is true.
so that was the joke. All right, here we go. I'll get this. Line the edge up. All right. Got it. And again, we're going to do both sides here. Let me, like right in here, make sure that looks good. Okay. Double checking that corner there. And as you know, I'm not going to brush this on. We're going to airbrush it. I'm going to be using the lighter color. This is the, hold on. You think I have these memorized by now? This is the Chainmail. What was this we used here?
Yeah. It looks great. It looks super shiny on camera.
Right. What color was this we used last time? It's not Chainmail, was it? What is it?
I don't think it was chainmail. I think it was a darker silver.
Yeah,
maybe
it was a dark
samurai sword.
Right. That's what it was. That's right. This color was Samurai. This is Chainmail. This is the one that's brighter. That's why I was making sure I don't hit the same color twice. All right, good. So we keep masking here.
So John wants to know, what do you like best about the PlaidFX paints?
I like that. I like the pigment. I like the color. They're really strong. I did a helmet, a Space Marine helmet, was a while back, and I wanted to paint. There's a little visor and there's a piping on it, and I wanted to paint it, and the PlaidFX black was just so smooth and jet black. I just took one pass. I just went one pass with it, and it worked perfectly. And on the top of that, it's being super flexible. But I'm really, really starting to fall in love more with their metallics. The metallics are great because making costumes, usually when dealing with the early days of metallic paints, especially acrylic metallic paints, they were all right, but they weren't consistent. And it was so hard when you're trying to do a costume, you try not to get brush strokes on it. And it was always hard. Metallic was always the hardest one to do. And with Plaid, I think it's the biggest strongest is that their metallics are great and they go on easily. And even if you're brushing them, they self-level and they go on evenly. And if you use a thin brush and a lot of coats, it works great. But now that I discovered you can airbrush it, like I did this guy here, makes it even more great for costumes, especially like making knight armor or a helmet or a sword. It's definitely to put that through an airbrush. You thin it down with your window cleaner and airbrush it. I think we only did like maybe 3 or 4 coats.
Yeah.
When we did this the blade.
Yeah. That actually gets into our next question. Emily wants to know, how many layers are you planning to put on the blade's tip?
Oh, that's a good coat. Being a brighter color, I can guesstimate, but I think probably end up being 3. But then it's so funny. We don't know yet. That's the best part about it. We're going to find out how many. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to put people want to put a vote in how many coats you think it can be.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, let us know.
How many coats you think it's going to take? Because
What's your wager?
The pigments are pretty strong in the paints, so I think we might be all right. I'm doing a little. Turn a little bit. Hold on, just making sure this edge is clean. One thing about the edges, if it's something, there's a little off in the corner here. Let me just fix this corner real quick. Because any imperfections are like a little line that's not straight, it'll show up. I can see the spot right here. I want to make sure I get that spot.
Make sure it's perfect.
Please cover that little bit of that corner there. Okay.
Nice.
A little bit. There we go. All right. Excellent. All right. Now that we did this, we're going to airbrush it. Especially airbrushing, paint will travel. So I want to make sure I cover all this. I'm going to get a wider piece of tape. I got a wider bit of frog tape here. I'm going to just cover the top half of this.
Okay. Lindsay said, "Hey Ted, big fan of your work. What is your favorite cosplay you've ever made?"
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm actually between 2. I like my 2 favorite. It was, of course, I think somebody asked this last time. I really was a big fan of my Vampire Hunter D costume. when I did that, and I just screwed up this tape. Hold on. Oh, there it goes. Okay. But also D was a great anime. It was my favorite anime character. But for costumes in general, I did a red demon costume. This is big, bright red, kind of like Japanese warrior looking character I did for BlizzCon. And I really like that character. And I just pulled it out recently. I did a video on that about how to make spikes removable on your costume using earth magnets. But that costume,
that's cool.
yeah, because usually when you're making a costume, when you start off in cosplay, you're new at this, you just build your costume, you make it the way you make it. And then as you start to get into conventions more, you start to realize you have to travel. You have to start making things travel friendly.
Yeah.
And I found that some of the costumes with spikes or big horns, I made sure that everything was removable so I could put it into a footlocker. So there's costumes I've designed and pretty much revolved around if it can fit my footlocker. So that's pretty much how I decide how big something's going to be. And if it's too big, I have to make sure it comes apart so it can fit in a footlocker. So when I'm traveling, I can take it with me.
Really
Yeah, and a valuable lesson I learned with my Vampire Hunter D costume is that I can't travel with that costume. It's too big. He is not travel friendly. I can only do local conventions with him.
Oh no.
The brim of his hat is huge. The sword, the length of his sword's huge. Like everything's just enormous. So I can't really put him anywhere.
No, makes it that much more special.
Yep.
It's exclusive.
He's a local costume only.
Yeah.
All right. So guys, again, you gotta watch out when I'm masking. You can turn off. I can see gold showing through here. So if you make sure careful, get everything covered up. And looking good. We'll spot here. Get everything. Got that. All right, good. So next, when we're airbrushing, we don't want to get all this. So I'm going to, very carefully, or how about recklessly, I'm going to start masking that off.
So Nicole said, I love cosplay and anime, and also hi.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Lindsay said, how long does it typically take you to make a prop like the one you're demonstrating now?
That's always, I get that question a lot, and I don't want this to be discouraging, but I built this in a day. Ooh. This is a one-day prop, and I built this just for this class. And I should have made a video of it because people were really curious how I made this. And that's my bad. I apologize because I'm pretty good about making videos for things. And I was in such a hurry to get this done for them that I just knocked it out in a day. But that just comes from experience. But I always tell people it takes as long as it takes. If it's something you really want to build or something you really like, don't worry about the deadline. Just take the time to build something that you want to build. That's one thing I tell people during this pandemic is that take advantage of this time right now, because I know some people like the con crunch. I personally don't like it. I refuse to do it. I have friends like, oh, there's a con coming up. Like, yeah, that's in 2 weeks. They start building something. I'm like, dude, you crazy? It's like, I plan months in advance. I'm like, oh, wait, this is coming up. Although I was guilty. I did do my Red Demon and my Space Marine costumes for BlizzCon, and those were crazy crunch times.
Those were crunched.
Yeah, the Red Demon character, I put so much work into detailing that I did not estimate for how much time it would take to paint him. So when he was all done, I'm like, all right, I got him done. All I got to do now is paint him. And the painting took days.
Oh, wow.
Because there was so much detail on him. And I didn't want to cut corners on painting. So I literally had him done the night before the convention.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's stressful.
I don't recommend that. Too stressful.
Yeah. Shauna said, do you ever remodel or reuse prop parts, or is it better to start from scratch each time?
I've used patterns. A lot of my patterns, like I get lazy and I want to make a new pattern. I'll use other patterns all the time.
Okay, that's smart.
I'll take older patterns and modify them. And if there's just recently, the Red Demon costume character, he had big spikes on his shoulder, but I didn't want to remake them. So I cut the spikes off and put magnets on them. And that was kind of me revamping something that was already existing. So if it's something I really like, I'll just work with it. I'll just retweak it.
That's really smart. Save your patterns in case you want to modify them.
Oh, but yeah, I know. It's funny. I have a friend, I'm not going to mention his name. I don't want to embarrass him, but he makes stuff. And it's so amazing. And then I'm like, he goes, hey, I want to build that. Hey, Ted, do you have that pattern? I'm like, going, what happened to the pattern you used when you made that? He goes, oh, yeah, I threw that thing out. I'm like, why would you throw out your pattern? Like, and it's like, every time I make something, I have every pattern of everything ever made, which
that's awesome.
I have a giant drawer, although they get sloppy and I have to organize them. So I learned over the years, I have to start labeling things, what they are. Like this is this pattern. I'll write the name of the pattern. I'll write the number, top, bottom. I'll write the name of the pattern on it. Because over the years, I've come to have those patterns save my life.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I'm doing other
projects. A lot of work making them, yeah.
All right, this looks pretty severely painted, masked off. So we're gonna go ahead and take some paint. Hold on, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna try one of my new paint jars. Hold on. I got a new paint jar. Because last time I did this, I had a paint jar and it was clogged. So just gotta make sure it fits. Oh, this is awesome. So now we're gonna mix up. This is our, here's something else I do. Before you start pouring the paint and everything, take your prop and put it aside. Because you'll put, I always spill things on stuff. So, all right.
Very smart.
Here we go. I got my paint. Add a little to my cup. Yeah, that's probably more than plenty, okay? And then we're gonna take some window cleaner. And again, this is a 1-to-1 ratio. It's gonna, and I have a stir stick. Where did my stir sticks go? Hold on for a second, let me grab my stir stick real quick.
And Ted is using our PlaidFX Armor Metallic, and I believe he said he's using the color Chainmail. I'm going to put that in the chat for those of you who might be wondering.
All right. Tell you what, while I'm mixing the paint together, guys, have you guys had a chance to go to Michael's and pick up my silicone molds yet?
Yeah, they're super awesome.
And I've had people, and I was curious if people have gotten them and have they used anything, and there's been a couple of people who have been very nice enough to tag me and post pictures of some of the stuff they've been doing with them. But by all means, if you start using stuff and start adding these detailed parts to your costumes, please tag me in those pictures. I would love to see.
Yeah, let us know, guys, if you've had a chance to grab some of Ted's molds from Michael's.
Oops, sorry. I always like to add a little bit of time.
Yeah, that's smart.
Don't want to overdo it.
So we've got a bunch of questions coming in, Ted.
Yes.
So this one I'll ask right now since you're mixing. John wants to know, so why are you thinning it with window cleaner?
That's because I was informed by PlaidFX Paint. I said, hey guys, can you use this paint through an airbrush? Because the stuff is really thick and it works so well with a bristle brush. And they said, yes, you mix it with window cleaner, 1-to-1 ratio. And once I said, what? So that's what I ended up doing on the blade. This might be a little thin. Might have added too much. Hold on. Add just a little bit more of the color. All right, that's good. But that is why I'm adding. That's why I'm using window cleaner. Awesome. I was informed.
And you can use any window cleaner. So any brand of just standard, Windex or generic brands are fine. But yeah, like Ted said, a 1-to-1 ratio, and PlaidFX works super well through an airbrush. So, and then Ted, you even told me too, you can just clean out your airbrush with window cleaner after you use it.
Yeah, it really helps. I used to just shoot water through it, and I finally realized, well, no, this actually is a solvent for the paint. And it's like any acrylic paint, guys. If you let this dry in your airbrush, it will gunk it up. So you want to make sure you stay on top of that. Okay, this is much better. All right, good. So now let me get a paper towel real quick and wipe off the threads.
Hey Ted, Justin wants to know, is there a video for your Space Marine cosplay?
The helmet, I made a video on the helmet. But as for the whole costume, no, I did not. I was, again, I was building that for BlizzCon. So I was just rushing to make that paint. So that costume was more of just I had images on Pinterest that really inspired me. And I started building from there. I'm gonna fire up the airbrush.
Okay.
Okay, now we have the jar loaded on here. Let the pressure build up. Oh, there we go. Okay. We got the airbrush. Here we go. Let me just dial it back just a little bit. There you go. Too much paint was coming out at once, so. You know, somebody just realized, hold on guys, I just realized something. This is going really great, but I want to mask off this handle as well too, because I have some plastic wrap for that.
Okay. That's a good tip, using plastic wrap.
Now, when I mean packing, I mean just like the packing wrap. Like you can find this at Home Depot. It's just stuff that people use for packing things up. But it's perfect for masking because you can mask quickly and easily without any fear of taking the paint job off.
That's super smart.
Just go like this. Because as the paint was coming out of the airbrush, I just know that I would probably get a little bit of overspray on the handle, and it would just really irritate me.
That's really smart.
Because I know better, and I would get lazy. So this is always a great masking. I learned this working at the prop house. A great prop maker, his name's Jason, and Jason and I were working together. We had to paint all these props, and he was, because we had to paint things and then demask and paint. So there was very little time for the paint that we put down to dry. And so he would mask with a plastic wrap. And I'm like, oh my God, that's genius.
That is really smart.
Yeah, so ever since then, I was like, that's genius. So, all right, now I can paint a lot easier, knowing that this has been covered. Okay, here we go. All right. Now the trick is you don't want to go too heavy to runs. Airbrushing, like anything, you don't want to it's best to do a lot of thin coats instead of one or two heavy ones. Because when you start getting with heavy coats, you have a tendency it might drip. You don't want drips.
That's a good tip. Justin wants to know, how do you keep your airbrush from clogging?
Keep your paint clean. And also when you're not using it, make sure you keep your airbrush clean. If you're having clogging issues, you got to really stay on top of cleaning that airbrush. And I'm the first one to admit I get lazy on that. But it's adjustable. I use this is a Pache. This particular Pache I like. It's like I've used this thing for years. It's really simple. It's a single action, not dual action. It's just a pushing button straight up and down. Because there's the dual action ones where you can kind of press down and control the flow by moving your finger back and forth. And the control the flow with this one, you just adjust the knob.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, because I'm not that good. I have friends that are really good with the double action airbrush, and I'm always like, it's like I don't want to risk it. I'm not that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna speed this up by hitting it with a hair jar between coats.
Okay.
Just to go back to that first question, somebody talking about the airbrush. Trust me, it's all the Trump. When I first started, you're absolutely right. Airbrushes are finicky. It's like it takes some time to get used to them. But the trick is you got to be hyper vigilant about cleaning it. You use it, once you're done, clean it. Like if you do something, don't wait, clean it immediately. Invest in some great airbrush solvent cleaners. There's different brands that make them, but that's another great one to get. But when you start getting the airbrushing, as soon as you're done with it, or between colors, I always clean it. Sometimes I'll change colors, and I always shoot like a thinner For example, I was doing this when I would have multiple bottles of different colors. I would swap the color, but I would shoot some window cleaner through my airbrush first before adding another color. Kind of helps keep things clean. All right, this is coat number 2, and it's looking good already. So it might be 3 coats again. I might have been correct on my decision. Let me set this down very carefully. I'm going to adjust this camera, guys. It seems a little too close. Let me just move this back up a little bit. All right.
We've got a lot of great questions coming in.
Oh, fantastic. Let me have them.
Okay. So Nicole wants to know, can you make a cosplay prop out of cardboard? She said she tried to make a high caliber sniper scythe from Ruby.
Right.
So have you made any cardboard props before, Ted?
In my youth, yes. That's how I got started. I was very young in St. Louis in the 70s, in the before times, right? Way back in the time, the 70s. And the only thing I had access to me that was readily available and cheap was cardboard. So everything I built was cardboard. But I discovered there's things they have now they didn't have when I was a kid, and you can get PVC pipe. So if you make the base of your rifle out of cardboard, then use a PVC pipe for your barrel. You know, you can get different thicknesses of PVC pipe and do that, and then stick your pieces of foam core, your cardboard to that. Build the body of your cardboard. Yeah, and the thing with cardboard is once you're done, I found that you can take Elmer's glue or PA glue and just kind of brush it on. The trick is with that, you got to go brush it on your cardboard props really, really thin, because if you go too heavy, it will warp the cardboard. So you got to make sure when you do using wood glue to seal your cardboard prop, just make sure to use thin coats.
That's really smart. And Lindsay said she is working on a sword made out of cardboard right now.
All right. All hail the cardboard.
Right?
Yeah, I love cardboard as a kid. Loved it.
That's awesome. Jonathan wants to know, do you do any leather working? And if so, what's your advice for getting started?
Leather working. Wow. No, I have so many friends that are amazing pattern makers and work in leather, and they're scared of foam. And I'm always laughing at them, like, oh, I can't do foam. Like it's like leather working, but easier and cheaper. But no, I have a lot of friends that work in leather, but I have not. But I always admire the people that do it. But
I know it is beautiful. It seems expensive too, though.
Yeah, there's different. Yeah, if you can buy it and
Not
practice and stuff.
Yeah. Patty said, "Hi, no insult intended, but have you ever used duct tape in a crunch to save a project?"
Yeah, I've used duct tape on. Trying to duct tape the same project. I've helped friends with costumes putting pieces like duct tape. It's always like it's definitely a quick fix. But I found that these days now is it's hot glue. If you just get a good hot glue gun, I'm realizing now that I used to go to cons. I had people come and ask me, "Hey Ted, do you have any glue or do that?" And I would travel to conventions. I wouldn't have stuff, and I learned toward the end, before the pandemic, so I started traveling with a repair kit in my cosplay. So when I go to conventions, I always try to make sure I bring a hot glue gun, super glue, and needle and thread.
That's smart. A needle and thread too. That's very smart. Let's see.
This is looking good, but I might do 4 coats. Okay.
Okay. Did anybody guess 4 coats?
All right. Any more questions, please?
Yeah, we've got a bunch. Maddie wants to know, since quarantine started, have you participated in any online conventions where they featured cosplay, and how did they work?
Yes, I've done several. The first one I ever did was the Ultimate Online Cosplay Championship. And it was a great turnout. It was international, so we had so many people from different countries. And I was one of the judges with a bunch of other Tuck Customs and good God, Volton Props and Chad. There's just so many people. What had happened was I did that one. I just recently did a Baltimore. I'm scheduled to do a Baltimore one pretty soon. I'm doing Baltimore Comic Con. I did Portugal, Comic Con Portugal.
Oh, cool.
That was online. And I'm doing one for New York, and it's the mainframe. They're doing the online mainframe con thing, and I'm doing that with New York. And I made a video for them recently, and they're going to air that one. But yeah, I've done multiple online cons. Don't get me wrong, it's very cool and I like it. I get to do pretty much what I'm doing right now is I pretty much talk to people and answer questions, but it's not the same as being at a convention. It really isn't. I mean, I miss seeing the costumes. The best one so far I've done was the online Ultimate Cos, just seeing the costumes and the people and their submission videos and everything was just amazing.
John said he saw a teaser for our PlaidFX con that's coming in November.
Oh, that's right.
So we're pretty excited about that. Yeah, hopefully everybody keeps an eye out for that. We've got some exciting announcements coming up. But yeah, we're planning on doing our own virtual con, like John said, coming up in November. So that's exciting.
I'm gonna take this off camera, sorry guys.
So yeah, if you guys don't follow PlaidFX on social channels, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. So make sure you check us out. And like I said, we just announced that we're doing a virtual PlaidFX con with lots of different panels and guest stars and contests and prizes. So make sure you follow our Instagram account so you can get updates on that.
All right, buddy, we're going to do some demasking. So let's start with the plastic wrap here. Take this off. Okay. That's so far looking good. Now, when demasking tape, this little trick I learned, because again, we work at the prop house, we'd have to work so fast and so quickly that when you were taking things off, you wanted to make sure you didn't remove the paint you already put on. Now, this is dried for days, but when pulling the tape, never pull up, always pull along the wedge. Like, you don't want to give any tension. You don't want to pull up on the product you're painting. You always want to take the tape and go along the edge of the tape. So you just kind of, so therefore you're taking the tape off without pulling the paint.
That's
so you're
very
just
smart.
pulling the tape. So take it at a hard angle, like so. And that takes away that tension, because if you go to pull, it sometimes will pull the paint off. So
that's really smart.
And again, I learned this from working with other seasoned prop makers and watching them demask stuff, because we had to be so gentle, because everything we were working on, we had such a crazy turnaround. So
yeah,
very gently.
We've got a couple more questions. We
Yes.
got two that kind of go together. So John said, if you're new to working with foam, what would be a good first project? And then Lindsay kind of followed that up with any advice for beginner cosplayers like me and my daughter.
Yes. I always say start small. I know people when they get into cosplay, like, oh, I want to build this character from Overwatch or build a big guy from Doom or anything. It's like, yeah, just do something small. And I always find that making a helmet is always the great one. It's like taking a flat piece of floor mat foam and then making a helmet. I have patterns. I have these free patterns on my website. I have the Inquisitor from Dragon Age, but I think for starting out, you just get the Voltron. I made a Voltron helmet, and that pattern's free on my website. You can take that, download that. I have a step-by-step tutorial. It shows you how to do that. And when making a costume, don't start, just do one part at a time. Start with a helmet, get the helmet done to where you're comfortable with it, then move on to a shoulder. Like, instead of trying to do a big massive build, just do one piece at a time. And all right, and also ready for this, be prepared to fail. Nothing wrong with failing. Failing's learning. If you don't fail, you never learn. So it's like, I know people sometimes get their mindset on what they want it to be, and if it doesn't come close, you get kind of depressed. And I'm telling you, don't be that.
That's great advice.
Yeah, you know, can you even see that? It's like I'm peeling up and looking at this, like, you can kind of see it. It's almost looks like the same color. Hold on. it's bright, but not bright enough. So hold on, everybody. I'm gonna do a little game change here because I like this. We have this mask. I'm demasking and look at the silver. It's a separation, but not enough separation. So we're gonna do something really crazy here. We're gonna improvise. Hold on, let me get my plastic wrap.
I love it.
Hold on, I'm gonna do this. You watch this, guys. You watch this live. It's called Ted making up as he goes.
The beauty of live.
Here we go. We're gonna do, because I like it, and you can see the brightness of it, but it's not enough that I know that when we take it off, it's just gonna be a subtle difference and not as much. Now, so we're just gonna do the plastic wrap very carefully. Cover the handle again. Got that. Take some tape.
Lindsay said, thank you. She has failed on her sword that she's working on that's made of cardboard 3 times, but she's not giving up.
Yes, because what happens is when you fail, you realize once you fail, you look and go, oh, I did this. This is what happened. And that's what is the best way of being your own teacher, because then you realize what you did wrong. So then you go, okay, I'm not going to do this. So you do something different, and you do something different. You get to a certain point, you go, okay, wait, now this doesn't work. So each time, and every pattern you guys see in my store, everything, I've made everything at least 2 or 3 times. I've never made anything once and went, that's it. Oh, that's perfect. It doesn't work that way. So making stuff is it is a point that we have to kind of like be willing to. And don't get me wrong, there's times where you work on something and go, that's good enough, which I've gotten there many times. But if there's something you really want to do, I want it to be perfect. Okay, hold on. So what my plan is, guys, is I'm going to take, since we have this light, the silver's already on here, we're gonna get crazy. We're gonna add a little bit of blue because I have this metallic blue I really like. And my plan was I'm going to paint these spikes with the blue, but I figured, why don't we just do a thin coat of blue so we'd have a bright silverish but a bluish edge, because this is kind of cyberpunky, right? So we're going to take our jar, and it's pretty diluted, so I'm going to take this guy off. And I got the blue. Oh, you can tell me it's brand spanking new. Look at that. It hasn't been opened yet. So I'm going to cut that open. There we go. Ooh, super vibrant. All right, hold on. That's got some on my finger. Let me wipe that off. Now I'm gonna add just a little dab. All right.
Nicole's asking where can she buy wood glue, and you can definitely get it at Michael's.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, just good old fashioned glue, wood glue, Elmer's glue. It all works. You know, it's also great that you should use. And I think it'd be a little bit, would work better on cardboard than wood glue is Mod Podge.
Yes, that's an excellent idea.
Because Mod Podge, I've used numerous times just to seal foam with, and you can brush it on super thin and it dries. And if you want to put more on, and you can also tint it. I've done things where I've added paint to it to make it a different color. Let me stir this a little bit here before I put the lid back on.
Yeah, I'm going to drop a link to some Mod Podge in the chat for you guys so you can order it to your house.
Oh yeah, that's it. Okay, I can see it now. This is great. Now again, this is 2 colors mixed together. I'm taking the chainmail with the blue, and I think that's exactly what I needed. And that's gonna solve my problem right there. All right. Again, yeah, yes, I'm making this up.
I love it though. Crafting on the fly.
Here we go.
John said, where can he get an awesome Mod Podge shirt like that?
Oh, that's a good question.
We
Where
actually
can
have
you?
them on Amazon. You can order lots of Mod Podge shirts on Amazon. We've got really cool like vintage designs and stuff. So if you just search Mod Podge on Amazon, you can get all kinds of cool t-shirts.
There we go. Okay.
CS Crafter said, I used an old curtain to make a poncho for my made-up Star Wars character, and created holsters from vinyl for my lightsaber ray gun for a scout event.
Wow, nice.
That sounds really cool.
That sounds cool. There you go.
Patty said, what's the easiest and most impressive costume to make for a beginner, and how much lead time do you think is needed?
Well, again, that's all up to you. My thing is, I find that if you're doing something for the first time, give yourself time. You can't compare yourself to other people. It's just the best way to do is just judge, like, I've never done this before, so be prepared for things you're not going to work out, or just give yourself some time and do something simple. I think start with a helmet, simple armor. I have numerous patterns on my website if you guys want to check them out.
Yeah, I'm going to drop the link to one of your free patterns from your website so people can check that out in case they're looking to get started.
There it goes. Keeps clogging on me. Because I added a little bit of the blue, which made the paint a little thicker. And I did not. Yeah, see, this is already looking, this is already doing exactly what I wanted to do. Look a little different.
Paige said, hey, Ted, what is your favorite TV show you've worked on?
TV show. My favorite TV show. Wow. The one that was the most interesting and was always every week was something crazy. It was always a surprise. We worked on Malcolm in the Middle. There was that really popular TV show, Malcolm in the Middle. And we did like every week, because it was a TV show, we had to make props for him. And we made the craziest stuff all the time. They wanted, my favorite one, they wanted a deep dish pizza box. We want a deep, and I go, and they're like, we need this by tomorrow. So they come to me and go, Ted, we need a deep dish. We want it like 3 inches deep. Want a cart, and you would think you could jump online and order a 3-inch, but they don't exist. So it was the most interesting thing I ever did was I took a real pizza box, laid it out. If you ever look at a pizza box, the science that goes behind making it, it's fantastic. It's all die cut and it's all made to fold and compensate. And so I took it and traced it out and then made the sides 3 inches taller and patterned it all out and then carved into cardboard. And I did them, and I had to make like 4 of them. So I manually carved and scored the cardboard to fold up and look like a manufactured pizza box. And we had to make artwork and logos on them. I did it
That's awesome.
But we did crazy stuff all the time for Malcolm in the Middle.
That's so cool.
That's one of my favorites.
I remember, I have no idea what video I was watching, but years ago I was watching one of your videos and you told a story about how you had to make they sent you a cutting board and said they were shooting a scene tomorrow where someone was gonna be hit over the head with a cutting board and you had to make an identical replica of that cutting board out of foam. And I just thought that was like the funniest, coolest story. I don't know why it has always stuck with me. Like, that's such a cool job.
And what it was that, oh my God, you're absolutely right. And I think there might be pictures of it somewhere. But yeah, I did and I carved out of foam and coated with rubber, and I ended up doing different tones, and I took a chip brush and started doing streaks to the point to when it was all said and done, I was like, I nailed it. It was perfect.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it was done like in a day. I had a day to do it.
That's so crazy.
So I talked about that in one of my videos.
Yeah, you must have. I don't know why I know it.
Wow.
I think maybe it was one of your tutorial videos. You were telling stories. I'm not sure.
How? It's so funny. I never watched my old videos. I can't watch my old videos. I get too self-conscious.
I get that.
There's like the actor, what's his name? He plays Kylo Ren, Adam Driver.
Yeah.
He doesn't watch any of his performances. He doesn't watch any of his shows.
He doesn't even watch his movies? That's crazy.
No, doesn't watch them.
Whoa, that's so funny.
I think going through the making the film and having that experience for himself is a different approach to him for it. But he said, he never goes back and watches them.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, I don't like watching videos that I've done either. I don't like hearing my own voice, so I prefer live.
Yeah, and also to my videos, I always feel in the earlier ones are so rough and crude, hard to watch. And every video I make, I always try to make sure it's better than the last one. That's always been my mission. Guys, this looks so much better. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm calling this is the last pass. I'm gonna hit this with a hairdryer, and then we're going to demask it. Okay. I'm going to take this off camera and turn this on high blast. I'll just hold it.
Okay.
It's so funny. I must have been working at the prop house when I made that video, because that was, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that would happen all the time. When I first started making my earlier videos, I was still working at the prop house at the time. So all those stories were still fresh in my head.
Yeah. That's cool. That's awesome that you've made so many props over the years that you even forget.
Oh yeah. It's a going joke with my wife, and then we'll be watching a movie or something she really loves, and I'll pause and go, oh wait, I made that. And she'll be like, well, how did you not? I'm like, well, it's just,
you forgot you made it?
Yeah, and I would laugh because I said the place I worked at was like a factory, and we would do so much stuff so fast, and the turnaround was so quick that I would forget. And my favorite one was they'd bring back props that were broken or torn up, and they'd say, here, Ted, fix this. I'm going, why are you guys giving this to me? And they go, because you made it the first time. I'm like, I did? Really?
You're like, I've never seen this before.
Yeah, exactly. That's what would happen.
Oh my gosh, that's really funny.
All right, here we go again. We're going to demask, but again, like I said, don't pull away. You got to pull along the edge, pull it with the tape. So you go up like this, very slowly.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I definitely see a difference now. It's cool. Okay, good. That's why I just want to make sure there was something that looked different. And
that's really great. It's really awesome that the tape's not pulling up. I'm like waiting with bated breath.
Well, also too, the advantage I've had is that the reason I'm able to do this too is it had days to dry.
It's been
if
curing,
you're doing like this, you definitely, I'm telling you, if you're gonna do something that's gonna do a lot of masking, you definitely want it to dry the day before. If you're doing con crunch stuff, you can't do that kind of stuff. So that's always trying to tell people.
Yeah.
You know, don't put yourself in the corner. Give enough time to have something to dry, especially if you have something that's good. Like my demon character. It's so many different levels and different details. It's taken me forever to paint it. It was just, I didn't have anybody helping me either. It was just by myself. That's when I wish I had somebody helping me.
Yeah.
But okay, here we go.
Maddie said, wow, that blue really made a difference.
Right? It does. It catches the light. So I wanted, because when I started demasking, I noticed it looked different, but not enough. I was like, after doing all this work and making masking and then having something you don't barely see, was kind of defeated the purpose of all this work. So, oops. So now we're going to go ahead and oh, here he goes. Home stretch. Home stretch. Here we go. Take this guy down.
Looks so good. Lindsay said, what's the best con you've ever attended? And did you win a costume contest there? Because you are amazing.
My favorite con I ever went to was Dragon Con.
Nice.
Dragon Con was one of the best cons I've ever known in my life. And I vowed, I only went there once, and then I never had a chance to go back. And just timing, financial, all that stuff. So my mission is, once this pandemic's over, that's the first thing I'm gonna do is get a ticket for Dragon Con and start saving up. And I'm gonna start doing the thing that everybody does. I'm gonna start asking for a friend. So somebody has a hotel room I can share with them, because trying to get a room trying to get a hotel room at a convention is next to impossible.
Yeah.
All right. So guys, if you can look at it now, can you see? It's there. It's subtle, but it's there.
It looks so good. It looks crazy shiny. Everybody keeps commenting how shiny it looks.
Well, that's PlaidFX. Like that has nothing to do with me, people. The key is having your prop really smooth. This was coated with a bunch of rubber, but I'm trying to get this. Can't get this.
Looks great.
Let me see if I can just cut this off. Sorry, getting impatient. There you go. Okay. So now we have this done. We're in the home stretch, because now we have this hint of blue.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
We're gonna go a little bit crazier. We're gonna take I'm gonna get a brush, and this is the blue. We're gonna paint these spikes. Let me grab a soft bristle brush. right. Here we go. Now this blue is really brilliant. I have a pretty good feeling it's not going to take too many coats to do this. So yeah,
That's one of my favorite colors.
this is a one coater for sure.
I just recently did a mask video for the new CW show Stargirl, and I used that color for Stargirl's mask, and it was perfect.
What shows us?
It's called Stargirl. It's based on, I guess, Starman was a comic book. And I guess it's about like the girl who finds his scepter and like gets superpowers now, but it's on the CW. It's like a new teen show. It's pretty good though.
Stargirl.
Stargirl, yep.
There's such a huge following for Supergirl. I've not seen one episode, but I just know that people really love that show.
Yeah. Lindsay said, my daughter Reagan just walked by the screen and said, wow, that's cool.
Oh, thank you.
And everybody's saying Dragon Con is the best. Emily said, I love Dragon Con. Lindsay said, yay, G-Con is the best.
Yeah, it is. It's what I liked about that con. I got these spikes a little bent when I put that saran wrap on them. Was that it wasn't so much. It was just the festivities and all the fellow makers are there, and the YouTubers and people that I follow. And it was the first time to really sit down and just hang out with those guys and talk shop. And it was just such a great experience. And I loved it that as for a costume contest, I don't enter costume contests. I always tell people I don't build to compete. I build to teach. So I'd rather teach than compete.
Awesome.
It's always been
You're a very good teacher, so we really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I became a teacher because I was young and I saw Star Wars when I was 14 years old and I lost my mind. And all I wanted to know was how to do stuff. And there was no one to teach me. There was no YouTube. There was no books. It was the 70s, everything was all hush hush. And even back then, Hollywood wasn't smart about didn't realize that people really they always kept thinking the mystique of magic of Hollywood. Like if you show people how it's done, nobody's going to like it. Nobody's going to want to watch it. And that was the conception for a long time. And it wasn't until the 80s they started realizing that showing behind the scenes, people loved it, loved seeing the magic of Hollywood, how things were done. And so now, now it's like super. Now they don't care the show, but now it's not. Now it's not nearly as exciting to look at. It's just a bunch of people on a green screen.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, oh, there's Captain America in a giant green background.
Yep.
Staring at a tennis ball.
I imagine it's not nearly as fun for the actors anymore either.
Nope. And there's the more practical. There's some people getting back to it, but yeah, it's the bigger the budget, it's mostly just giant green screen stuff.
Yeah. John said, who are other makers that you really respect?
Oh my goodness gracious. There's well, Kamui, I think, is a phenomenal builder. She's great. Her and Benny are wonderful. Bill Dren of Punished Props. Stephen Sks Smith. He's a great builder, but he's a great builder, but he's also a phenomenal painter. And I don't know if you guys have seen any of his videos, but that if you want to be intimidated about painting, you should watch one of his videos. It's just like he does it quick and effortlessly because he went to art school and he said he studied color study. Like he knows all about warms and hues and colors. He knows how to mix what goes with what. And so it was all that schooling, it paid off. And I just like mixed up and go, oh, that doesn't look right. So,
well,
so I don't, yeah. So that's why I'm big about pre-made colors and pre-painted colors. Like, just like right now, I'm like, oh, I'll just grab this blue, ta-da, done. Yeah. I don't have to mix this.
Luckily, PlaidFX has tons of colors to choose from, so you don't have to worry about it.
They do, and yeah, people don't know is that you guys you sent me a bunch, and when I got them, I'm like, holy cow, look at these colors.
That's awesome. It was a lot of fun. I actually got to help pick out the color palette for PlaidFX, and it was like a 3-day long meeting where they just posted pictures of all of like the biggest fandoms, like the biggest animes, and superhero movies and just like all of like these nerd things all over the walls. And we said, what colors do we see the most? What colors do we need to have in these paints so people always have the color
Wow,
they
that's
need?
a good idea.
It was a lot of fun. It was like one of the most fun meetings I've ever been to. So hopefully we've got colors for everybody.
Wow, that's brilliant. You guys can see, look, it's coming together. Look at that.
Ooh, that looks so good.
All right, I'm gonna do these guys too.
Nicole said the sword is coming along nicely.
Thank you. Everybody here real quickly, while I have everybody's attention, that the, oops, I'm working on patterns right now. I have for Cyberpunk and things like that. But if you guys do, if you are a big fan of something, follow. If you do any shopping for cosplay supplies, you can definitely go to my website, eviltedsmith.com. If you're new, basic tools and stuff like that, I've listed on my website. But I want to do a video. I'm going to soon. As I need to do. People always ask me. I finally realized if people are asking, I should just make a video instead of writing on these emails. But my top 10 tools or top things you need to start cosplay.
Oh, cool.
It's always getting a cutting mat, blade sharpener, box cutter, X-Acto knife, craft knife, I call it. Because X-Acto is actually a brand.
Yeah,
so
it's like Kleenex.
Yes, exactly. Who knew, right?
Yeah, right.
It's tissue paper. When I was a kid, I always go Kleenex, and I kept thinking that's what you called them, and that's actually a brand.
Yep, that's funny. You can get all that stuff at Michael's. They have a really great cosplay aisle now where you can get all the stuff you need. You can get all the X-Acto stuff, the Dremel stuff. So make sure you check that out, and also online. Lindsay said, love the names you guys came up with for colors. Any new colors on the horizon? I keep hearing about Mutant Shift. What is that? Ted, do you have any of our Mutant Shift?
No.
We'll have to send you some. So Mutant Shift is one of our PlaidFX formulas, and it's kind of similar to our Color Shift, if you guys have heard of that, but it's sort of two-tone, so it shifts in the light. It's kind of like metallic, but it's got multiple colors in each color.
like an iridescent, yeah. Like
an iridescent, exactly. Like we were kind of inspired by like the automotive industry. Like a lot of times they have like that really cool, like, color shifting paints for cars and things like that. So
they did RoboCop's head like that too.
Yeah, it's really similar to that. So make sure you guys check that out. Like Lindsay said, it's called Mutant Shift, and it comes in tons of colors, and they're really awesome, especially for cosplay. Nicole said, I think we talked about this a little bit. Why does your name have the word evil in it?
Well, would you ever follow Good Ted? Would you subscribe to the Good Ted channel? Not as cool.
Patty said, wow, Ted, I've attended all 3 of these classes you have taught, and I'm so encouraged to pick up this art form. I hope that you have the time to teach us here again.
Oh, darling. Well, here's the thing. If I'm not doing this, guys, I do videos. If you haven't discovered me, definitely go check out, get on my website, go to my YouTube channel, subscribe. Also, if you can, get on my website and join my mailing list. I start on my mailing list. I always will email out what I'm doing next or what's coming up soon. So it's always like to stay in the loop, what's going on, what's going to happen next. So by all means, and also I stream on Twitch every week, every other week from Monday and Tuesday. So guys, please definitely, if you're getting into it, what's so great about cosplay too? It's inexpensive and it's easy to do. It's at home. Now I know people always roll their eyes like, oh, it's easy to do, Ted. Well, it's not so much. It's the technique. It's easy to pick up. You don't have to get any big power tools. You don't have to get a 3D printer or a laser cutter. You just need your hands and a craft knife and a cutting board. You really don't. I was at a convention and a gentleman came up to me and said, hey, my son told me that in order to he needs a 3D printer to do cosplay. And I said, your son's pulling your leg. Your son wants a 3D printer, but you don't need it for, you don't need one for cosplay. You definitely don't need one.
That's really funny. Lindsay said, oh my God, we're on Twitch. We'll definitely check out your videos.
Oh, you are? Fantastic. Yeah, definitely. If you guys go to Twitch, you guys can find me. It's twitch.tv/eviltedsmith.
All right, I'll put that in the chat. I just put your website and YouTube. So Twitch.
.tv. Yeah, twitch.tv/EvilTedSmith.
tv.eviltedsmith. All right.
Yeah, therefore, when you follow me, so therefore, when I go live, you'll be alerted and you can go and check it out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I have a really bunch of great creative people that come on Twitch. And that Twitch thing is the whole reason why I started my Facebook group, the Foam Fanatics, because that was just from people hanging out. And I kept thinking, there's so many talented people here. They need a forum where to hang out and meet and ask each other's questions.
Yeah.
So I did that. And that's a great thing for people starting off.
Yeah, I love that group. It's super active. There's always people posting. It seems like there's like a lot of newbies in the Foam Fanatics group, and there's a lot of super experienced cosplayers. So there's a lot of great stuff going on.
A lot. So therefore, if you have any like kind of burning question or you're struggling with something, there's usually somebody there to answer your question.
Yeah, yeah, it's super. That's a really great tool, especially for beginners. So there's in the chat. We also have a great PlaidFX Facebook group, which I'm also going to put in the chat that we're trying to build up. So here, make sure you guys join both groups.
Yes, join, guys, please. Let the community grow.
Yeah.
Sharing techniques, sharing people. I'm still cracking up that I told the story about making a butcher block in one of my videos.
Again, I don't know why it stuck with me. I think I just at the time was like, oh my God, like what? I've always been an artist, and I'm like, what a freaking cool job. Like that is so awesome.
Yeah, it's like anything. It becomes, after a while, it becomes work. But
yeah.
How are we doing on time?
We're actually just right at the time, so.
Well, hold on. Well, then I'm gonna change my camera switch so we can have a nice wrap up for this.
Okay, cool, cool.
Hold on, guys. I'm gonna get this all set up. Gonna move my microphone so people can hear me. Shaky cam. Here we go, guys. Sorry, get this all set up.
So guys, if you have any more questions, now's the time.
Wait, moving things around.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, get this all adjusted. Bring you a little closer. Yeah, so usually when I do my live streams, I have multiple cameras. But for Zoom, it only comes through one camera, so I have to move the camera around.
Yeah.
But hold on, here it comes. Dun, 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 dun,
drum roll.
dun, dun, dun.
Ooh, that looks really awesome.
There it is. And this has got the spikes.
That looks so cool.
And the blades. And again, the blade, it's subtle. I probably should have gone heavier on the blue.
It looks cool. It really did make a difference.
It is. It's funny because I can see it here, but you don't see it that much in the video. But now, if I had a second thought, I would probably paint this the same blue as the spike. That's where it tied all together. Therefore, you have the blue edge and the blue spikes. That would have been better.
I think the blue spikes kind of brings out the blue though. Like when the light hits it, I don't know. Like the blue spikes make the sword look bluer. It looks awesome.
Well, so there's everybody. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, it looks so good. I just want to say we got a couple more questions since we're about to wrap up. Margaret wants to know, are your kids cosplayers?
Yes.
Doesn't surprise us. And then Justin had one quick question. He said he thinks he may have missed it, but was the sword inspired by something?
More like a machete. It was the cyberpunk there's a picture in the cyberpunk game. These guys had weapons, and there's these guys that had these glowing machetes. And granted, my machete doesn't glow, but I like the idea that the weapon, like these kind of short end blades. It's like not big enough to be not a knife, but too big to be a knife and too short to be a sword.
Like a weapon mashup. Yeah,
so it's like a machete. And so I kind of make like this is like kind of like a little hand-to-hand combat weapon. That's why the spikes on it. And the whole neo bright color thing is kind of the fall in the cyberpunk thing. And people earlier asked me about aging this, would I go back and age this? And we were talking earlier about every weapon has a story. And this is somebody's personal weapon this is his favorite weapon. So he does not let this get dirty. He keeps this very clean. This is his weapon of choice. So there's everybody. Everybody, I want to say thank you for hanging out and thank us for joining all three classes. The people that joined us. Again, if you have any questions, please throw them in the chat real quickly before we wrap up. You can find me Mondays and Tuesdays from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on twitch.tv/EvilTedSmith. Also, I have a website by the same name, it's eviltedsmith.com. And I have a YouTube channel called the Evil Ted Channel. So
Awesome.
go
So we've got a lot
follow.
of people saying thank you, Ted. Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Michaels. Thank you, Plaid. Awesome. Thanks so much. The series was fantastic. So people are just really excited. The sword turned out awesome. I'm trying to make sure I haven't missed any questions, but I think that is it. So I just want to say thank you so much, Ted. This was amazing. I think everybody learned a lot. I know that I learned a lot. We learned a lot about you and just prop building in general and about the PlaidFX paints. So we learned lots of great tips. I think everybody did. Looks like we've pretty much had a really similar audience throughout all three videos of the series, which is great. I think that people learned so much. So don't forget to check out PlaidFX paints at Michael's and check out Evil Ted's molds at Michael's too.
Get those molds.
Make sure you pick some of those up and tag us, tag Evil Ted, tag PlaidFX if you use any of our products. We'd love, love, love to see what you're making. Join the groups, watch the videos, and hopefully we'll be able to do some more of these videos soon with Michaels. Thank you so much, Michaels, for having us. And I think that's it.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. I had a blast. Thanks.
Bye, guys.